Welcome, everyone. You're watching BCTV's YouTube live stream broadcast of Bedford High School field hockey. Today's game has the 2-0 Bulldogs taking on the Nashua South Panthers. I'm Pete MacDonald, standing alongside your play-by-play host, Scott O'Donnell. Scott, here we are again, our third season calling Bulldog field hockey, and for me, it's just as exciting as it was the first time we did this 3 years ago.
Certainly is, Pete. Glad to be here and looking forward to a successful season from our Bulldogs.
Yes, indeed. Bedford's off to a strong start this year, 2-0. Big wins against Salem on the the season opener. And then again, 2 nights ago, they beat BG. I thought was really interesting there was these are the last 2 teams they played last year, and they lost both games. So a little avenging. Avenging the 2023 losses.
Certainly righting the ship and, leading the way in this team play here so far. First game against Salem, if it weren't for the Salem High School goalie who played unbelievably well, that game could have got out of hand. With the Bedford Bulldogs ended up with a 3-0 victory. Tegan O'Donnell 2 goals, Maddie Kiley with another to add the insurance, and it really was domination by the Bedford Bulldogs. And then we get to the BG game, one of the arch nemesises of the Bedford High School sports scene, and ultimately after a tight battle they went 3 quarters 0-0 back and forth. Great game, fast pace, really skilled play, and the Bulldogs were able to come out on top with a big goal from Eloise Montagano off a big sweeping reverse backhand that hit the right corner of the net, and then a scramble in front later, and Ella Putney was able to knock it down out of the air and drive it in. Wonderful win for the Bulldogs against a very competitive and highly skilled team with BG. And here we are tonight with the Nashua team that is also solid. And we remember from last year, they have a lot of hustle, a lot of determination as the game starts underway. And O'Donnell comes up across the 30 and advances the ball up to the 20. Back on O'Donnell's stick, gets it into Putney. Putney drives towards the circle and knocked down there by a Nashua defender. But Putney gets it back, shot on net, just wide of the goal mouth. So that ball will come back out to the 16. It'll be a free hit as it went out the end goal line for Nashua. 28 Emily Richard sends it far side of the field, but Bulldogs come back. Eloise Montagano, top of the circle, towards the net. Kiley tries to redirect, just misses. Back to Montagano, another quick drive, scramble in front, and there's going to be a corner called in the favor of the Bulldogs. Quick start to the game. 1 minute in and already a couple scoring opportunities.
Yes, indeed. We'll also spend some time talking about a new face on the sidelines for the Bulldogs, the new head coach of the Bulldogs, Kate Godrow, teacher here at the high school, has been a long-time coach at various places, but we'll reintroduce her to folks here shortly.
Ball is inserted, top of the circle. McDonald takes a wind-up, rips one towards O'Donnell, and O'Donnell just can't handle it. It ends up bouncing out of bounds. That ball will come back out to the 16. Nashua with the free hit. Richard goes far sideline again. Grace Wolf tries to intercept. Ends up creating enough confusion. Nice hustle on that play, reading the pass. Grace Wolf was able to disrupt it, so it's going to be Bedford ball after a touch by Nashua. McDonald at the 30, far sideline, takes a look around, comes near field over to Anna Ray. Anna Ray works it up the 30, tries to find O'Donnell. Nicely read by number 8, Hart, for Nashua, as she intercepted that pass. And Nashua tries to advance the ball. It goes out of bounds at about the 45 in Bedford's end. That was number 14, Dolan, trying to connect with her teammate and just missed, trying to generate some offense. Anna Ray from the 45 for the Bulldogs. Tries to start a reverse field. Nicely received by Amelia McDonald, senior captain. McDonald, far side. Up to Grace Wolf. Grace Wolf to the 50. Tries to get by the Nashua defender, who knocks it down and out of the air. Nashua's going to get a free hit. They're going to call a dangerous ball on that because it came up into the player. And Nashua goes back to O'Donnell. Not to confuse those out there in broadcast land, but we have a number 5 for Nashua O'Donnell and a number 5 Bedford O'Donnell. So you're going to hear that name called. Eloise Montagano in the shooter's circle. Putney shot, score! Bedford goal. Junior Ella Putney off a beautiful pass and puts it into the back of the net. Bulldogs up 1-0, 11:25 on the clock. Assist from Montagano there.
Putney scored. Eloise Montagano assist.
Bedford goal by number 22, Ella Putney. Assist to number 1, Eloise Montagano.
Putney finds O'Donnell middle of the field. Beautiful defensive play by Richard. Ball bounces up towards the 50, but McDonald is there to gather it up. They're going to call back a stick infraction on McDonald. And O'Donnell for Nashua is going to have a free hit from the 47. Play back underway. O'Donnell advances it up to her Nashua teammate, Dolan. Dolan up across the 20 into the shooter circle. Tries to get one off. Knocked down by Poirier. But it hit a foot. Nicely done by Nashua. They're going to get a corner call. Dolan just zipped right into the shooter circle, right at Poirier. Poirier made the initial play, but Dolan stuck with it and did a great job trying to keep the ball advancing towards the net and got a foot call. First corner of the game for Nashua. Sage Devons will insert for the Panthers. Up top to O'Donnell. O'Donnell to Hart. Hart shoots. Knocked down by Amelia McDonald and very confidently drives it right out the side towards the sideline, out of harm's way. Ball comes back into the shooter circle, but freshman Mary Lenti is there. Great hustle as she pushes the ball up the field. Ella Putney finds O'Donnell on the run. O'Donnell up to the 10. Reverse into Montagano. Montagano tries to redirect towards the net and just wide to the left. Nice ball movement by the Bulldogs. Great play by Mary Lenti. Pete, we got a great freshman here on the field. A lot of potential here for the Bulldogs.
She's played 2 outstanding games so far, and clearly she's going to have a good game today.
Lenti there, intercepts, lifts, tries to get around the defender, just out of bounds. It'll be a Nashua ball back on the insert. Ball comes up the field. Once again, McDonald's there at the 50. Scoops it up. Ends up going off the foot, but going into Nashua's control. And Nashua knocks it again off McDonald's stick out of bounds. McDonald from about the 35. Back inbound to Anna Ray. Anna Ray back to Brooke Poirier, senior captain, trying to switch fields quickly. Out to Carly Hodgkin-Rogers. Hodgkin-Rogers back in to McDonald. McDonald up the middle of the field. Montagano dangles at the 20. Beautiful stick work. Back and forth. Goes towards the net. Off Kylie's shin pad. Ball scrambles. The referee lets it go. And she calls a corner in Bedford's favor. I think Bedford got the benefit of a non-call there. Referee was behind the play a little bit trying to see the action, and I don't think saw the ball hit Kylie's shin pad. But here we go. Nonetheless, McDonald from the goal line, ready to insert. McDonald in, Up to Kylie. She slips it to Montagano. Montagano back to Kylie. Takes a chop at it. Lenti reaches, can't get there. Nashua is able to clear out of the shooter circle. Anna Ray knocks it down and pushes it back up to the 25. It goes off a Nashua stick, and Bedford's going to have the inbound. 1-0 game. Ray brings the ball over to McDonald. Dolan knocks it down for Nashua, charges across the 50, regroups, looking for help, pushes the ball up the field. But Brooke Poirier is there for Bedford. Tries to dance up across the 50, but Hart gets it, drives it down the field, up to the 25 and the 20. Carly Hodgkin-Rogers gets it. Far sideline, she dangles, pushes it up to Grace Wolf. Grace Wolf knocks it off a Nashua player and out. That's going to reset for Bedford with control of the ball. Wolf smartly back to Hodgkin-Rogers. Hodgkin-Rogers comes up across the 50. Ball gets intercepted briefly, but there's going to be an infraction called on the Nashua player. And that's going to be a free hit for Bedford. Grace Wolf, far sideline for Bedford, on the 50. Moves the ball up, advances to Montagano. Montagano stick handles around the Nashua defender. Tries to insert to Kylie. Kylie pops it up over the stick of the Nashua player. And Nashua clears far sideline, but that's going to remain Bedford ball. Wolf smartly back to the defending line for control of the ball by Bedford. Nashua knocks it down. Dolan from the 30, spin move, tries to clear, but that's intercepted again as Lenti pushes the ball up. And Bedford gets it, drives the ball in towards the shooter circle, scramble, ball gets cleared again. Grace Wolf inserts it back into that shooter circle, onto Montagano's stick. Montagano stick handing niftily, goes backhand trying to get Kylie, just can't connect. And the Nashua defenders playing stingy defense. And there's going to be a foot infraction, so it's going to be free hit for Bedford. Wolf back to McDonald. McDonald from the 20. Starts a stick handle, reverses, loops around to the 10. In towards the circle. And Bedford player can't get a hold of it, but McDonald gets it, tries to go reverse, blocked by number 5, O'Donnell for Nashua. And McDonald draws a corner. Nicely done. Not a lot of room there, Pete, for her to operate, but stick handled and kept at it and was able to draw a corner call.
Yeah, that was some nice stick handling. And this will be Bedford's third corner of the game.
McDonald sets down on the goal line. Top of the circle, Montagano. Ball up to Montagano. Montagano moves right. Goes to Kylie. Kylie right side. Tries to rip one. Nicely defended by Nashua. Number 9, Ava Durgarbadian. Nice defensive play. Richard for Nashua. Goes far side. O'Donnell for Nashua. Out far sideline. Intercepted there by Bedford. Grace Wolf at the 30. Tries to get it into the center field, but it gets knocked down by Nashua. Sent down to about the 37 where Brooke Poirier for Bedford scoops it up. Near side to Anna Ray. Anna Ray quickly up the field. Vi Hodgkin-Rogers there, working the sideline, trying to move the ball up. Goes off her leg. It's going to be a free hit for Nashua. O'Donnell, stick handles around the Bedford players. Montagano called on the reach in, considered an obstruction. O'Connell, stick handling. Tries to move the ball up, but there's McDonald again. Steady as always. Gets the ball out of harm's way. Far side, Grace Wolf, nicely played down the sideline, trying to hit Kylie, just not enough as the ball was played well by Richard for Nashua. Lenti back to McDonald. McDonald back over to Hodgson Rogers. Hodgson Rogers in the circle to Putney. And ball comes back out. McDonald's there to control it. Drives towards the shooter's circle. Rips one. Just misses on it. Ball pops in the air. Montagano knocks it down. And they're going to call a dangerous ball and free hit for Nashua going the other way. Ball at the 16. Richard tries to clear. Going to be another free hit for Nashua. O'Donnell. Once again, stick on stick. They call that a hack in field hockey. O'Donnell tries to send it up. Hart's there. She scrambles. Can't get to it. And ref makes what they call a third-party call, which is two players in the same team playing against one. It's supposed to be one-on-one, player-on-player in the game of field hockey. And they're supposed to be squared off, facing each other, essentially. McDonald charges up the field, across the 25, goes far side to Grace Wolf from the 10. Grace Wolf inserts into the shooter circle. Avery Girasol checks into the game at forward, and she tried to scoop that ball in and spin around and get it towards the net, but nicely defended again by the Nashua team, and they're going to get a free hit from the 16. Richard sends the ball upfield. Lenti jumps the pass, but it goes off her foot. O'Donnell for Nashua. Stick handling around, trying to play keep away. Tries to find her teammate. They can't clear across the 30. Ball comes up to Montagano. Montagano nicely defended by Richard. Lenti gets the ball back for Bedford. Tries to find Ella Putney. Putney, beautiful reverse move. And she's going to draw a call with a foot call. So it's going to be a free hit because it's outside the shooter circle. And not that they can't call a corner off an infraction outside the shooter circle. However, she had plenty of players she was going to have to get through in the shooter circle. So the referee deems that a free hit and not a corner.
So a good first quarter for Bedford, although I'll tell you, this is a different Nashua South team than what we saw last year for sure. Their defense has really improved. Offensively, they look a lot sharper, and it's a game right now. So
it certainly is. Mary Navarrete, the goalie for Nashua, is doing a really good job squaring up to the ball and being aggressive. And their back defensive line, led by senior captain Emily Richard, did a nice job of controlling the play in and around their net despite Bedford's efforts to try and put the ball in the goal.
Anybody that's listened to our broadcasts over the years probably has noticed I'm uncharacteristically quiet today. I'm operating the camera, and I've just learned that I cannot multitask, talk, and move a camera. So I'm trying to keep the action on your screen, and my pithy and relevant comments are few and far between right now until I can figure out how to talk and operate this thing.
Always needed, though, Pete. I'll tell you that.
So anyways, BCTV is stretched pretty thin tonight. They're broadcasting tonight's football season opener from Stello Stadium, where the Bedford Bulldogs will take on Nashua North Titans at 6:30. That game will be live on Channel 8 at BCTV as well as live streamed. This is the season opener, so they've got resources down there, and we've got scant resources here at Bulldog Stadium to broadcast today's field hockey game. But glad to be here, and I'll try to make sure I capture all the action without messing this thing up.
Well, as we get ready, about 15 seconds left on the clock, getting ready to start quarter number 2. It was nice to see a lot of different players get in the game here, Pete, early on. Gaudreau really mixing up the lineup, getting people some playing time, which was great to see. two additions this year to the Bedford Bulldogs field hockey team as transfers from out in the Amherst area. The Hodgson-Rogers sisters, both Vi and Carly, have been great additions to the Bulldog field hockey program. You saw it right away, right at the Jamboree. Really hustle, great skills when it comes to stick, and they fit right in perfectly with this team who we've watched develop and mature over the last couple of years. Nice to have them on board. And they are twins. So this year's Bedford Bulldogs varsity captains have been named, and they were Amelia McDonald and Brooke Poirier and Tegan O'Donnell. The JV team was also selected as far as captains go, and want to make a mention of both Marissa Stewart and Claudia DeLeo, who were named captain of the Bedford girls field hockey JV team. And Claudia DeLeo had a beautiful goal off the corner for a 1-0 victory earlier tonight against the Nashua JV team. And I want to make sure that people at home understand the JV team is 3-0 coming into the season. So looks like we got quite the program developing, and Karen Putney was named head coach of the JV program and assistant for varsity. So play back underway. Ball comes back to Brooke Poirier. Poirier advances the ball, finds McDonald. McDonald tries to go near sideline to Anna Ray, just out of her reach and out of bounds. And that's going to be a Nashua ball. Hart's going to go scoop that up and play it on the inbound. Hart from the 40. Back pass to her defender. Putney's there. Quick outside, inside move. Tries to advance the ball up the field. Ends up catching the foot of a Nashua defender. So it's going to be a free hit for Bedford. O'Donnell for Bedford. Quickly over to McDonald. McDonald from the 40 looking for a lane. Beautiful ball far side. Grace Wolf pushes it up the field to Avery Girasol. Avery Girasol trying to find O'Donnell in the shooter circle. O'Donnell scrambling for it. Going to get a foot call. O'Donnell to Montagano. Montagano, spin move, backhand, into the shooter circle. Ball towards the net. Girasol just can't get there, but keeps at it. Quick spin move, shoots, knocked down nicely by the Nashua defender, number 12, Caroline Kelly. Once again, stingy defense, Pete. Going to get a corner call out of this for the Bulldogs. McDonald on the goal line. Senior captain. Ready to insert. Referee gives a signal. Whistle blows. McDonald up top. O'Donnell slips. Back pass nicely to Montagano. Montagano tries to handle it. Just a little too much on the ball. And up comes Nashua. Quick defensive effort from the Bulldogs as they chase down the Nashua player. She was charging up the field. But it's going to be a free hit for Nashua. O'Donnell over to Hart. Hart at the 50. Bedford defender pokes it out of bounds to slow down Nashua's charge. Hart for Nashua. Tries to get it up. Intercepted by O'Donnell. O'Donnell lead pass. Splits the difference between Putney and Montagano, but neither get to it as another nice defensive play by the Nashua team. Ball out of bounds off of Anna Ray's stick. And the Panthers will come back the other way. Hart from the 45 in Bedford territory, looking for a lane. Bedford players clogging up the side. She lifts it. McDonald knocks it down at the 30, but O'Donnell for Nashua is there. She stick handles, slides over to Dolan. Dolan into the shooter circle, goes far side, but O'Donnell for Bedford is there. Slows her down. Shot by Dolan, knocked down nicely by McDonald as she clears out to the goal line, far side. That ball is going to come back up to the 25 and be a Nashua ball. Good defense from the Bulldogs. Still a 1-0 game. Ball should be placed at the 25. Up comes Nashua. Grace Wolf, nice intercept. Tries to find Montagano. Montagano battling for it. Spins off the Nashua defender. Referee's going to call free hit going the other way. Nashua ball from the 35. They try to go down low. O'Donnell's there. Knocks it down. Charges up the field. Bounces up in the air and off her stick. Off the Nashua player's stick and out of bounds. Grace Wolf. Grace Wolf. Back pass. Hodgson Rogers. Carly comes up the field. Charging quickly. Great speed. Stick handles around two players, gets up across the 50, goes through three, and just runs out of real estate. Tracks her ball back down, spins around, trying to force it up the field. Good hustle. And draws a call. Tries to lift it. Gets intercepted by the Nashua player. Ball back out to the 40. O'Donnell picks it. Drops it down low, finds Montagano. Montagano, quick spin, tries to get to Girasol. Beautiful defensive play by the Nashua goalie, who came charging out of the net to intercept that scoring chance. Girasol, quick spin move, tries to hack at it to get it towards the net. But again, stingy defense from these Nashua Panthers is keeping them in this game. Navarrete in net for Nashua has made some great saves. Montagano finds O'Donnell, midfield. She goes low to Putney. Putney spins, shot, knocked down, but it ends up off a leg, and that's going to be a free corner for the Bulldogs. Coach Gaudreau calling in the play. O'Donnell for Bedford will go down the goal line for the insert. Ella Putney top of the circle. Behind her, Montagano. Ball comes up. Putney's ball just off her stick. Grace Wolf nicely tries to get it back down into the shooter circle. O'Donnell gets it. Drives it towards the net. Girasol with a quick tip. A scramble in front. Girasol scoops it. And it's going to be a foot call on Bedford. Free hit Nashua. Great scoring opportunity for the Bulldogs. Try to clear. Piciantini into Putney. Putney rips one. Low left side. Bedford goal. Bulldogs score. Well, Piciantini gets put into the game, Pete, and immediately makes an impact.
She makes an impact. That's
Beautiful
correct.
play in traffic. Slides it up there to Ella Putney, and Ella Putney's having a game.
On the assist. 22 goal, 8 assists.
Thank you.
So 2-0, 7:17 on the clock in the second quarter. As play gets back underway.
By number 22, Ella Putney. Assist number 8, Eva Piacentini.
Putney again charges up the field, nicely intercepted by the Nashua player. Mia Catane tries to help for Bedford, but it goes off her foot out of bounds. And Nashua will have the free hit. Knocked down by Putney across the 30. But Nashua counters. Back to Anna Ray. Anna Ray tries to go near sideline, but Nashua won't be denied. They keep coming after it. Dolan sends the ball up the field. Just going to have too much, and it's going to go out of bounds. And it'll be a free hit coming back the other way from the 16 for the Bedford Bulldogs. Anna Ray at the 16. Goes corner to Poirier, senior captain. Quick outlet pass to Mia Catane. Mia Catane, nice pop move over the top of the stick of the Nashua defender. And ball goes out of bounds off a Nashua stick. So Mia's going to have another chance with the ball. Tries to drive it up the field. Nashua defender doesn't give her 5 yards. It's going to be another free hit for the Bulldogs. And Catane's going to take it. Catane finds Eloise Montagano at the 45. Montagano, nice ball to switch fields. Far side to Lydia Denon. Lydia Denon tries to work around the Nashua player. And there's going to be an infraction called. And it's going to be a free hit for Nashua. Nashua comes up. That's Hart. Sends the ball up toward the shooter circle. Carly Hodgson-Rogers again knocks it down and gets it off a Nashua player and gets a free hit. Referee's going to reset here, call that ball back, and it's going to be Nashua's ball at about the 27-yard line. Panthers. Back up to the 23. Hart goes back to O'Donnell. O'Donnell for Nashua. Stripped away by Montagano. Nice stick work as she charges up the field. Beautiful pass up to Ella Putney. Ella Putney across the 40. Finds Catane just out of Catane's reach and out of bounds. That was the right idea, trying to get a little bit of give and go up the field. Spread the field with some passing, Pete. Nashua back into play. Montagano, quick little backhand to Putney. Ball intercepted by the Nashua defender. Well played by number 19, Molly Mullaney for Nashua. Tegan O'Donnell for Bedford. Sends back. Hodgson-Rogers. Far side, Lydia Denon. Circles around the defender. Trying to advance the ball up the field. Scramble for it on the 50. Nashua wins the battle. But up comes Carly Hodgson-Rogers, and she knocks it down. Bounces it out of bounds off a Nashua stick, and she's going to get, again, a free hit. Denon reaches for it. Montagano, quick tap. Up the right side to Girasol. Back to Montagano. Big rip, far side. Nice save by the Nashua goalie. Another quick turnaround shot by Montagano. She tries to go high with that one, and unfortunately it just goes wide. Nice passing play. Well done by Avery Girasol, junior forward for the Bulldogs. And once again, nicely done by Montagano as she steals the ball again from O'Donnell, but they're going to call an infraction on a reach. And it's going to be a free hit for O'Donnell from Nashua. Montagano right on her. Ball near sideline. Catane. Catane tries to go to the center of the field. Gets knocked down. Going to be a free hit. Catane charges towards the net with the ball. Tries to go backhand to get to Julia St. Hilaire, senior forward for the Bulldogs, who's checked into the game. And it's going to be a free hit for Nashua. Montagano intercepts, finds Piciantini. Piciantini chips it to herself. Shot on net. Nice save by the Nashua goalie, who knocks it down with a waffle pad. Ball back in. and they're going to call that a goal. That looks like Julia St. Hilaire advanced the ball towards the net, and it trickled towards the net. I think Eva Piciantini was able to get a stick off of St. Hilaire's shot, and that's what it is. Piciantini with the goal, St. Hilaire with the assist on that goal. Nice to see these folks getting involved,
Well,
Pete.
you observed it earlier, but Coach Gaudreau is running her bench. She is getting everyone out there, and her substitutes that she's bringing in are impacting this game, as we see.
It's great to see everybody involved, and really, there's a lot of depth on this Bulldogs roster. These girls have been playing together for a long time and do a really good job complementing each other and working together. So, any of these players on that sideline could get in the game at any time and make an impact very quickly.
And we're seeing that today.
Free hit Nashua called. Advance the ball up the field. Number 4, Brooke Berger, goes at it. Tries to go to the top of the circle. Finds O'Donnell. Shot towards the net, and a goal by number 5, Karina O'Donnell for the Nashua Panthers. Nicely done. Nice passing play. Quick shot from the top of the circle, and it bounced in. Just caught Wolfiger off guard as it came in like a knuckler. Nicely executed by this Nashua team, and they're right back in this, Pete. 1 minute left on the clock in the second quarter. 3-1. And Nashua shows some fight. O'Donnell for Bedford. Comes up across the 50. Gets to the 30. They're going to call an infraction on the Bedford team. Going to be a free hit for Nashua. Hart for Nashua. Sends the ball up the field. Gets it up to Dolan. Dolan trying to advance. Gets another call. That ball is going to come back to about the 37. Hart's going to take it. She's on the 40. Hart tries to pass far sideline. Intercepted over there by Lydia Denon. Denon playing stingy defense on that far side. Knocks the ball out of bounds to slow the play down, which is a great play. That helps Bedford reset. Montagano scrambles to the ball. Finds Catane. Catane up across the 45. Chops it up over the defender's stick. Tries to go down low before time runs out, but not in time. Well, Pete, great first half from both teams. We have a 3-1 game. Nashua has certainly given quite an effort on defense. Their goalie, Mary Navarrete, has been amazing in between the pipes, made some great plays, along with Emily Richard back on the defensive line, and several other players like O'Donnell and Dolan, along with Hart, really click well together and really play a solid game. So 3-1 game, and this is anybody's contest at this point in time, Pete.
No, I agree. Like I said earlier, this Nashua South team is definitely a different team than last year. And those names you mentioned, those players, O'Donnell, Hart, Dolan, and Emily Richard, they are all on the New Hampshire Field Hockey Coaches Association watch list, which is pretty special. Not too many players on each team are selected for that honor, and you can see why these ones were selected, because we're hearing their name a lot today.
Well, they certainly picked it right. So very impressive to be scouted like that and be considered as players to watch for the year. And that is absolutely correct. They are solid players out there. While we have the half, we have about a 3-minute and 50-second break. I'd like to touch on our new head coach for the Bedford Bulldogs, and Kate Gaudreau. Kate has been involved in field hockey for many, many years. Went to St. Bernard Central Catholic in Fitchburg, Mass. Played center forward. And then went on to St. Anselm College, where when she got to St. Anselm, the field hockey program was a club program, Pete.
That's correct.
And she went on to help turn that program into a varsity program her junior and senior year. And she ended up being a captain of that team and was, for a good period, all-time leading scorer and captain. NE10 first team all-conference in the fall of 2001. And then when she graduated from St. A's, she stayed with the game. She went on to be the head high school coach at St. Bernard's for 5 years. And then actually, ironically, coached with her sister, and the youngest sister of the family ended up being on the team. So she was an assistant. Her sister was the assistant coach, and her younger sister was a player. Very unique. She then went on to St. A's and coached her younger sister again as she went back to St. A's as the coach. So she certainly has quite the resume when it comes to field hockey, and not to be outmatched by the fact that she also has a long career in coaching lacrosse.
That's correct.
So
Yep. She has quite the pedigree for field hockey and lacrosse. And in between all that, she was also 4 years at Riviera College as the head field hockey and lacrosse coach. So she's got a lot of experience behind her. And I think what should tell you even more important to her is she's a teacher. She teaches humanities here at Bedford High School. I've had the fortune of 3 of my kids that went through the high school that had Coach Gaudreau or Mrs. Gaudreau as their teacher, and she was a fantastic teacher, as she is a fantastic head coach.
she is. I understand she also is one of the coaches for the unified basketball program here at Bedford High School. And, it's great to see the girls once again bonding and uniting, and really the positivity, with the program, and how quickly they picked right up with Gaudreau, who had been the JV coach and assistant coach previously. And I want to make sure I mention, Annika McStowe,
Right.
longtime coach up here, helped build the program from the middle school all the way up to the varsity program. We want to thank her for her time here, her effort, her dedication to the girls, to the high school, to the program, to help get it to where it is today. I hope she's listening. Nothing but best wishes, and thank her for her time and her efforts here. We also have a new JV head coach, as we
Yes, we
mentioned,
do.
Karen Putney. And Karen went and grew up in Portsmouth and went to Portsmouth High School.
Portsmouth High School. She was center mid. Played women's league she played the women's league at Seacoast. Lergio 2019 to 20 assistant, and she's taken over the JV program. She's also works for the district here over at I believe Lergio. So great to see her. We've got to know her over the years through the Seacoast program, and she's a terrific coach and a terrific person just to have as a friend.
Yeah, so fortunate to have both these coaches leading these girls. I think there's something special about what they have going on here as they started off the season 2-0, especially Wednesday night, the rivalry game, beating BG 2-0. Last year, the team ended, Pete, with an 8-6-2 record, and history repeated itself with a quarterfinal loss to the Dover Green Wave. Dover went on to win the state title last year, led by senior captain at the time, Audrey Carter, who was Player of the Year in New Hampshire, USA Today, top 100 athletes to watch. The accolades go on and on for Audrey.
Yes.
Audrey is now playing as a starter at UMass Lowell and just had a game against Duke last week. Best wishes to Audrey. But when it comes back to the Bedford program, getting knocked out 2 years in a row at the quarterfinals, that's still quite the accomplishment to be in the tournament and be seated pretty high and, eventually lose to what ended up being the champions. So a lot of hope for the Bedford Bulldog girls field hockey program this year. Looking across the state and looking at where these teams stand, it's so early in the season. We always know Exeter has a strong program. They're led by one of their senior captains out there, Elsa Bishop. Elsa has committed to go to Bryant University, and one of their junior players, Danny Karen, as the ball goes towards the net, and Maddie Kiley, spin move, one-timer, right side, buries it in the net, 4-1 Bedford. I apologize for not being on the play-by-play on that. But we'll get into that as the season goes on, right, Pete? There's plenty of teams to be concerned about.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And as Coach Gaudreau has warned us, let's take one game at a time. So here we are, Nashua Panthers against the Bedford Bulldogs. Bulldogs up 4-1. Maddie Kiley with a beautiful turnaround shot to score there. Montagano intercepts, comes across the 50, dangles between two players, finds Kiley again. Kiley tries to get around Richard, but she plays very nicely, knocks the ball down, sends it up to the 50. McDonald quarterbacks it, tries to find Grace Wolf. Richard knocks it out of bounds. Going to be a free hit for Bedford, coming in at about the 30-yard line. Grace Wolf goes back to Hodgson Rogers. Hodgson Rogers over to McDonald. McDonald quickly back to Poirier. Poirier far side to Ray. Ray starts to work up the far side of the field, just out of bounds for Mary Lenti, out of her reach. Going to be Nashua ball. Nashua inserts up to the 50. They chop at it. Pops over Anna Ray's stick. Poirier is there. Poirier dances up the sideline, pops the ball up, finds Lenti again. Lenti with a spin move, tries to get around the Nashua player, knocks it out of bounds. And that's a Bedford ball. Poirier slides up, senior captain. Big lift up the field, drops it in almost to the 30. Quick hit by Putney, back to O'Donnell. O'Donnell chops at it, gets it into the shooter circle. Just couldn't be contained by Kiley. But right idea there, trying to get into that shooter circle and create some offense. Ball comes back out to 25. Center midfielder O'Donnell. She's going to circle back into the shooter circle to Lenti on her stick. Lenti tries to lift. Scramble in front. Lenti pushes it towards the net. Knocked back out. Putney spins. And the referee is going to call a corner. I think that ball hit the back of a Nashua defender's stick. And again, as the rule states, you can't play the ball on the back of your stick. You can only use a forehand of your stick. So that'll be an infraction. And senior captain Amelia McDonald will come down to the goal line as the Nashua defenders get their face masks on and get ready to defend. Insert by McDonald. Top of the circle, Montagano, down low to Kiley, beautifully defended by O'Donnell. Kiley gets it, backhand, scramble in front of the net. O'Donnell hacks at it. Nicely defended and nicely played by the goalkeeper. He blew the whistle, I'm not sure, it must have been another foot call on Bedford this time. And free hit for Nashua as they come back out the other way and they clear it out of harm's way. Mad scramble in front of the net there, Pete.
That was, I think, if my count is right, Bedford's sixth corner. Might be seven, but I can account for six corners, and well defended there by the Panthers.
Yeah, Navarrete has played a wonderful game in goal for Nashua. O'Donnell tries to get up the field. Montagano reaches. They're going to call an obstruction on that or interference just because she wasn't squared away, but the right thing to do, trying to slow her down. Ball comes up the field. Cross to the 50. O'Donnell intercepts. Tries to get around O'Donnell for Nashua, who intercepts. Ball comes back the other way into Bedford territory. Lenti comes back. Tries to corral it. Nashua players pursue. Knock the ball off her stick. Goes far sideline. Ray is there for Bedford. Tries to go up the far sideline to Ella Putney, but out of bounds. Nashua trying to control the ball. Montagano with a big hustle. Quick little stick handle around one, now two players. Coming up on the third. Big backhand, beautifully played down to the far side. Putney has it. She tries to get around Richard, but Richard is there once again with a nice defensive play for the Nashua Panthers. Lenti sends the ball back to McDonald. McDonald, Hodgkin Rogers. Hodgkin Rogers comes up across the 40 and just off the stick, just lost the handle. Bedford players are looking into the sun right now, Pete. I would imagine that creates a little bit of difficulty in trying to find your teammates upfield and find the lanes when you look up and you're looking into that setting sun right now.
Yeah, no question.
Ball comes up to about the 45. Dolan spins, sends it downfield. Hodgkin Rogers to Wolf for Bedford. Wolf quickly up the field, nicely done. On to Kylie's stick. Kylie, nice stick handles. Advances the ball up. It's going to be a foot call and a free hit. The ball comes out. Should be about the 30. Grace Wolf will pick it up. Referee sets her at the 25. Quickly over to McDonald. McDonald right down the center of the field. Moves to her right. Into the shooter circle. Winds up. Shot. Far side. Lenti at the rebound. Putney tries to hack at it. Gets the rebound again. Shot again. Saved by Navarrete as she kicks it out of bounds. This goalie's putting on a show. Really nicely played by that Nashua goalie. And it's going to be a free hit coming back under the 16 for Nashua as Richard moves the ball up the field. Richard sends it up to the 50. McDonald taps it back to Poirier. Poirier back to McDonald with a give and go. McDonald looking for a lane. Tries to find O'Donnell. Can't quite get there. Catane saves that ball. Goes backwards to Poirier. Poirier again to McDonald. McDonald taking a look. Goes far side to Ray. Ray. Far sideline for Bedford. Up across the 50. She stops. Back to McDonald. McDonald doesn't see Dolan Connor back. And Dolan turns and sends it downfield, but right into Poirier as she scoops it back up. Poirier coming up the field, looking for space. Tries to find Catane. And it just hops over her stick. That's a tough play right there. Trying to receive the ball on your backhand as you're running in a direction and settle the ball down, especially when it's bouncing. Hart for Nashua from the 40. Get it back in bounds. Dolan spins, turns, sends the ball, goes right to Lenti's stick. Lenti tries to come up the field, intercepted there by the Nashua player. Back to Poirier. Poirier looking for an opening, tries far sideline. Nashua pursues. Foot call. It's going to be a free hit for Bedford as Ray tries to take advantage of it right away and goes, but unfortunately that didn't work out, and Dolan sends it back the other way. Far sideline, Lenti tries to scoop it. Does. Goes down the far sideline. Tries to send Putney. Putney gives chase. Richard is there to slow it down. Sticks get tangled up between Putney and Richard. And it's going to be a free hit for Nashua. Nashua far sideline. Start to move it up across the 40. Dolan gives chase. Can't get there to collect it. And Brooke Poirier knocks it down. Doesn't see an option, so smartly plays it out of bounds. Slows down this Nashua surge. Ball gets lifted all the way down, and it's going to go out of the goal line. And that'll be a free hit back at the 16 for the Bulldogs. Ray from the 20 advances the ball way up the field to about the 50. Putney chips it over the defender's stick, continues down the sideline, nicely defended, far side by the Nashua player, but McDonald's there to intercept. Dolan chases her, but McDonald's too fast as she comes surging up the field. Beautiful stick handling, gets in the shooter circle, advances towards the net, tries to find Kylie, but again, Navarrete steps out and knocks the ball out of play, intercepting Bedford's attempt for a shot. Ball will come back out to the 25 for the Bulldogs. Just under 5 minutes in the third quarter. Montagano draws a call. She'll slide it back to O'Donnell. O'Donnell looks to go far side, catches Grace Wolf. Grace Wolf tries to go back into McDonald. McDonald from the center, rips a shot at the net. It goes in, waiting on the referee's call. Not sure if that was deflected or not. McDonald was outside the shooting circle, and they're going to call no goal. Beautifully driven.
Well, it was a beautiful shot
by McDonald, and that was a great play. She was looking for a tip there. She knew she was just outside the shooting circle, but that ball had some heat on it. Well played. Now O'Donnell for Bedford comes in, spin move, finds McDonald. McDonald back in the shooting circle, another chance, and it tries to go backhand. Ball comes out, nicely defended by the Nashua team. Ava Dergarbadian again. Senior defender knocks it down and gets it out of harm's way. O'Donnell for Nashua from the 25. Stick handles away from Montagano. Finds Hart near sideline. Hart tries to drive it. Grace Wolf chips at it. Tegan O'Donnell for Bedford goes right back to McDonald. McDonald goes far sideline. Finds Ray. Good control of the ball off the Bulldogs here. Ball comes up towards the shooter circle. Putney tries to get around the defender. And again, Dolan with great effort for this Nashua team, Pete. She's certainly shown a lot of hustle today, both defensively and trying to generate some offense. All the way back to the Bedford 40. McDonald is there. Stick handle, splits two defenders. Beautifully passes the ball back to Catane. Catane drives the ball near side to Grace Wolf. Grace Wolf from the 40. Stick handles up. Smartly to McDonald. McDonald, beautiful sweep pass. Another nice effort by Lydia Denon trying to find Avery Girasol. Denon gets it back. Gets it to O'Donnell. O'Donnell chips it ahead into the shooter circle. Kylie with a deflect. And that's a goal. Tegan O'Donnell to Maddie Kylie. And Bedford scores again.
I'll tell you, from game one to now we're in game three, the Bulldogs passing game has really just ignited. And it's so good to see the way they're opening the field up. They are fearless when it comes to passing, and they're making good, crisp passes, and it's paying off.
Yeah, Pete, what I find most interesting is we've noticed here in the third quarter an awful lot of control play, right? The ball comes up the field, and the Bedford players are not trying to rush. They're trying to look for the opening and get the ball to those midfielders and defenders so that they can sit back and find the lane and make the right play. As Dolan for Nashua draws an infraction, going to be a free hit for Nashua. O'Donnell for Nashua from the 25. O'Donnell draws another call, gets in the shooter circle, zips one towards the net, knocked down by Dolan as she stays at it. Grace Wolf defends nicely, gets it up and out of play, out of harm's way. And Maddie Kiley, here comes the speed, coming up across the 50. She's looking for somebody. Slides it over to Denon. Denon gets it, pushes the ball up. Denon again, pursues, continues to push the ball up the field. Looking for Girasol. Girasol just can't get there out of her reach. Out at the end of the goal line, and it'll be coming back out to the 16. Nashua with a free hit. Just under a minute left to play in the third quarter. Bedford Bulldogs up 5-1. Montagano to O'Donnell. O'Donnell tries to rip one. Hart puts a stick out, defends it. And Dolan tries to surge back the other way. just sending it out across the 40. And Bedford comes back again to the 15. Lydia Denon tries to get Montagano. Touch pass, trying to get to Avery Girasol. Girasol pursues. Ball goes off a leg because of Avery Girasol's hustle. And we are going to end the third quarter on a corner for the Bedford Bulldogs. Time expires on the clock. The infraction happened before the end of the quarter, so the corner will be played out until Nashua gets control of the ball and clears out of the shooter circle. McDonald from the goal line. Inserts. Up top, Montagano comes right quickly. Goes back left with a stick handle. Shoots towards the net. Beautifully deflected by Amelia McDonald. That was something to see. Beautiful stick handling once again, as always, from Eloise Montagano. She flips it towards the net, and senior captain Amelia McDonald's there to tip it in. Beautifully played and executed by the Bulldogs, up 6-1.
Great way to end that third quarter. It's also great to see them convert a penalty corner into a goal, because they've had a lot of corners in the first 3 games, and I don't know of one other than this one that has gone in the net. So good to see them take advantage of one of the best opportunities for scoring in field hockey, and that's a penalty corner.
Eloise Montagano.
Well, the Bulldogs certainly came out and made a statement in that third quarter, now have a commanding lead. Nashua has really stuck with it, Pete. You got to give them all the credit in the world. Just the stingy defense, great goaltending. They keep trying to clear the ball. They get it up to about half field, and they're just not able to connect with anybody because they're spending so much time right now on defense, because Bedford's really controlling the play on the ball.
They sure are. I'll tell you, the Nashua goalie has certainly stopped an onslaught of Bedford shots. The Nashua defense, in spite of the score, has done a terrific job through 3 quarters. They just need to generate some offense, and that speaks to the defensive work that the Bulldogs are capable of doing and have done this game.
It certainly is, and you're starting to see the skills take over. Amelia McDonald, senior captain, she was a junior captain, scored on that goal. Amelia is headed next year to Ithaca College. She'll be playing field hockey there, and it goes to show you the level of play that some of these girls bring. Certainly a high level of skill, and the Bedford girls are just starting to kind of take over here. So just under a minute left on the clock before we start the fourth quarter. Certainly nice to see the Bulldogs move the ball the way they're moving the ball around.
Oh, absolutely. And we talked about the New Hampshire Field Hockey Coaches Association watch list, and we've got a number of these Bedford players that are on the list this year. Eloise Montagano, Maddie Kiley is on it, Tegan O'Donnell, Amelia McDonald, Addie Wolfinger, the goalkeeper. Did I miss anybody?
I think that's all.
I think
of them.
that's the list. And again, that's just great. It is just recognition of their excellent play, and the expectations that the coaches have for these players to really stand out in the 2024 season. So congratulations to them.
Certainly, and you could go down the list for this Bedford Bulldogs team, and there's certainly, the depth is unbelievable. There's a lot of good players. Brooke Poirier, also senior captain. We could go on and on about the depth. And again, as we mentioned earlier, the Hodgson-Rogers twin sisters have been a great addition to this Bulldog program. It's interesting to see how Gaudreau is having them do a lot of substitutions tonight, a lot of movement of the ball, a lot of control of the ball and play. So 15 minutes on the clock, fourth quarter about to start. Eva Pisciantini, junior forward, back in the game, number 8 for Bedford. Girasol stays in as well, junior forward, far side, number 4. And Nashua starts to play. Dolan crosses the 50, tries to send it up. Knocked down by Lydia Denon. Lydia Denon for Bedford knocks the ball up the field to about the 35. Girasol gathers it there. Goes back to Denon. Denon tries to go with a give and go. Ends up drawing the infraction on Nashua. Nicely done. And smartly back to Montagano. Montagano. Ball slides out to open space. Nicely to McDonald. McDonald charges up the field. Up across the 20. Into the shooter circle. Here comes a rip. Far side. Deflected by Picientini. Almost deflected again by Girasol, but out of bounds. And that was something to watch too, Pete. Nicely executed. Again, that control of the ball, then drive on attack, get a shot off, sticks to the net, trying to deflect it and get it in. Really, really playing well are the Bulldogs tonight. Kylie from the top of the circle tries to reverse. Ball just flips up on her. O'Donnell for Nashua drives it down the field. Ball goes all the way down to the 25. And Ray gets it to Poirier. Poirier goes up to the far sideline. Nicely intercepted by the Nashua player. Tries to get it over to Dolan, but Anna Ray recovers. Charges back up the field. The Nashua pushes it back towards the shooter circle. Into the circle. Montagano is there. She turns. Clears it upfield. All the way up to the 35. O'Donnell for Nashua gets it again. Stick handles around Montagano. Sends it into the shooter circle towards the net. Poirier knocks it down. Carries it out of harm's way. Up to Denon. Denon chops it up across the 35 and the 40. Now across the 50. She beats a defender. She's going down the far sideline. Tries to get it up the field, but Richard is there to get in the way. And Nashua controls. Back out to O'Donnell from Nashua. Trying to find her teammate up above the 50. Into Dolan for Nashua. She comes across the 40. Tries to send it up. Knocked down by McDonald. Nashua picks McDonald's pocket. Number 11, Sage Devons, tries to get it in. Takes a swipe at it. Doesn't get all of it. Ball bounces around up across the 30. Denon finds Picientini. Picientini tries to go far sideline. Just oversteps it. Gets it back to Montagano. Montagano smartly back to McDonald. McDonald heads up. Looking for the play. Goes near sideline to Wolf. Wolf tries to get it back to McDonald. McDonald taps it to Catane. Catane back to McDonald. McDonald goes up the field. Off a Nashua stick. It's going to be a free hit for Bedford. Catane into McDonald. McDonald finds Kylie. Kylie at the 20. Tries to beat the fender. Going far side. In towards Picientini. On net. Knocked out by the Nashua goalie. Montagano finds McDonald. McDonald towards the net. Ball bounces just left and far side of the goal. Again, trying to get that deflection. And Bedford just couldn't get a stick on it. That ball will come back out. It'll be a Bedford ball at the 25. Went off a Nashua stick. Montagano slides it over to McDonald. McDonald stick handles around Dolan. Into the shooter circle. Tries to rip one. Nicely defended by O'Donnell from Nashua. She gave a quick jab and knocked it off McDonald's stick. And O'Donnell for Nashua pushes it up the field. Catane is there. Finds Grace Wolf. Wolf into McDonald. McDonald back to Catane. Really nice control of the ball by Bedford. And back to Poirier way out at the 50. Poirier taking her time. Surveying the field. Ball goes far side. Just out of the reach of Denon. Just off the stick of Girasol and out of bounds. Oh. Referee saying Bedford ball. It must have gone off a Nashua stick. Montagano over to McDonald. McDonald dances around Dolan. Into the shooter circle. Send it to the front of the net. Picientini Over to Girasol. Girasol with a tip, and Bedford puts the ball in the back of the net for the 7th time. Nice ball control, nice ball movement. Great stick handling. Clicking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, they sure are. And another observation from last year is I sensed a hesitancy when they were getting to the net of just shooting, and staying on the ball and following up. And you don't see that anymore. They are attacking, and the score is showing that.
Certainly
In spite of a very good Nashua goalie.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Avery Girasol, these first 3 games, has really played well and deserves that goal right there. That was great to see as Lydia Denon gets the ball into the shooter circle, and Picientini as well. Again, we speak to the depth of these Bulldogs and the fact that any of these girls coming off the bench can make an impact. We just saw it again. Bedford from the 50. Swinging it back to Brooke Poirier. Poirier switching fields to Catane. Catane at the 35. Comes up across the 45. Finds McDonald. Nice zipper pass over to Grace Wolf. Grace Wolf trying to get it down low to Julia St. Hilaire, but Hart was there. And contact between the 2 players, and the referee is going to call that Nashua's way. O'Donnell for Nashua comes up the field, crosses the 30, looking for a play, tries to go back to Hart. He's going to call a free hit for Hart. Hart tries to lift it. Ball bounces around, gets knocked out of bounds off Grace Wolf's stick. And down the sideline, Dolan sends it for Nashua. Catane is there. Near side, finds Wolf. Wolf to McDonald. McDonald looking for help. Smartly back, under control to Poirier. Goes to Hodgson Rogers. Denon gives chase. Jabs at it. And draws a infraction against the Nashua player. Hodgson Rogers to McDonald. McDonald from the 40. Nice sweep pass. Grace Wolf at the 45. Wolf gets around the Nashua player. Gets to the 30. Sends it to the center. Trying to catch Montagano. Does. Montagano dangles. Goes top of the shooter circle. Looking for the backhand. Does shove it out in front. Scramble out in front of the net. Trying to get that rebound in the back of the net was Julia St. Hilaire. But again, the Nashua goalie with a nice save, and the ball goes out of bounds. Going to be a free hit back up at the 16 for Nashua. Julia St. Hilaire almost had her first goal of the year right there, Pete. Ball back out to the 50. Dolan for Nashua. Hart comes over top of the ball from the 32 for Nashua. Drives it up the field. Knocked down by Montagano. Dolan gives chase for Nashua. Montagano just spins off her nicely over to Grace Wolf. Grace Wolf back to Montagano. Beautiful give and go. Montagano sees a lane. Finds Picientini on the run. Hilaire chops at it. But they're going to call a foot infraction on Bedford. It's going to be a free hit for Nashua. Hart from the 20 tries a stick handle around Wolf and loses it out of bounds. And Wolf for Bedford is going to bring it back to about the 28 and insert it from the sideline. Wolf goes back to McDonald all the way back up to the 50. Again, we're seeing this controlled play by Bedford. McDonald stick handles to the right. Working her way to the shooter circle. Meets resistance, so she goes down to Wolf. Wolf tries to find St. Hilaire. St. Hilaire in the shooter circle. Looks to Montagano. Montagano, quick inside-out move. Wrister towards the net. Tipped by St. Hilaire, but stopped by the Nashua goalie. Again, who's played quite the game. What a quick, nifty move by Montagano as she gets the ball towards the net. Just under 5 minutes left on the clock. Bulldogs up 7-1. Dolan for Nashua, intercepted by McDonald. McDonald stick handles to the right and the left and splits the defenders. Goes charging up the middle of the field into the circle. Shot saved by the Nashua goalie as St. Hilaire was there on the doorstep again. Grace Wolf, beautiful ball, centers it. Girasol tries at it. Montagano with a quick shot. Denon trying to get it towards the net. Now Girasol, and they're going to draw a corner. Well, Bedford would not be denied on that play, Pete.
No, not at all. And they earned the corner from that one. They just kept going at it.
Love to see the hustle, you know, the second effort, chasing down balls when they lose them. You know, there's a lot going on here. You can see just in these first 3 games the improvement and just things starting to click. As McDonald gets ready to insert, waiting on the referee's call. Grace Wolf, top of the circle. Montagano behind her. You never know what Gaudreau's calling, keeping him guessing all the time. She's certainly implemented a lot of different corner looks. Very creative in the play calling. Referees making sure the Nashua players are getting their headsets on. Protective
might be
masks.
a little equipment malfunction going on. So
Yeah.
Stop
Referee's
the clock.
going to call time there. Yep.
One of the things I'm learning, trying to operate this camera, and I hope the folks that are watching on the live stream are not getting motion sickness with my less than smooth moves here, but it's really hard. I like the close-up action. I've filmed a lot of stuff for BCTV, and getting close to that, you can't do that with the Bulldogs because they open the field up.
Yep.
And I'm constantly having to go pan out, and it's just a testament to how they're playing, and they're fearless. They will pass right back to their own 20-yard line if they think that's that's where the opening is, and they see something else going upfield. It makes for a challenging, certainly a challenging camera experience.
It
but,
certainly
but
does.
it really does kind of punctuate the Bedford style of play, and they use the entire field.
Yep.
And,
they certainly do. They're trying to spread it out, move
they
it
sure
around.
are. It's good to see.
Really impressive passing. They call it a zipper pass in
Yep.
field hockey, right? That give and go, coming up a sideline. You go sideline, inside, but you don't go to the center of the field. You go sideline, inside, and then back outside. And as play's about to get underway, we saw a lot of zipper passes so far today, well executed by the Bulldogs. Senior Captain McDonald over the ball, inserts to Grace Wolf. Grace Wolf knocks it down, slides it over to Montagano. Montagano gathers it, goes backhand, ball goes up in the air towards the net. St. Hilaire tries to bury it off the backhand, just doesn't get enough, and it goes out of bounds. But again, well executed as Nashua starts to try and get it out of their end. On the 20. Come near field, and it goes out of bounds. Catane gives it to Grace Wolf on the sideline for Grace Wolf to put it into play. Back to Catane. Catane, nice one-timer right on to McDonald's stick. McDonald dances right across the 40, finds Vi Hodgkin-Rogers. She tries to advance it up the field. Knocked down there by the Nashua player, who tries to send it into the Bedford zone and ends up knocking it out of bounds. I think that's going to remain a Nashua ball. And it is. Nashua with a free hit. They try to go far sideline. It squeaks through. And out of bounds at about the 30. 2 minutes left on the clock here in the fourth quarter. 7-1 Bedford Bulldogs over the Nashua South Panthers. Up comes O'Donnell for Nashua. Comes to the 20. Pops it over the top of McDonald's stick. It's into the shooter circle. Stick handles around, but Catane is there. Nicely defended as she pulls the ball out of harm's way. Denon swipes it. Beautiful pass upfield to Piciantini. Piciantini stick handles through 2 defenders. She's trying to get up the ball up the field to Girasol, but can't. But Denon's there. Back to Piciantini. Spin move. Ball towards the net. Girasol tries to scoop it in. but Nashua is able to clear. Denon chases it down to the 25, sweeps at it, jabs at it. They're going to call an infraction on Nashua for third-party play as Denon tried to take on 2. She now comes into the shooter circle towards the net. Nicely done as she advanced the ball into the scoring circle, and the Nashua goalie was able to knock that out of bounds. It's going to come back out to the 25. We're under a minute left with play here. Montagano over to McDonald. McDonald's looking for a spot. Gets in, shoots towards the net. Ball bounces towards the goalie. And the goalie makes a nice save again for Nashua. As under 30 seconds on the clock. Richard sends it up to Dolan. Dolan to the 40. She's looking for an opening. Slides it up the field, but Poirier's there. O'Donnell for Nashua can't get to it because Poirier stick handles beautifully around her. And ball goes out to the 40. Under 10 seconds. Nashua across the 50. 3, 2, and 1. That's a wrap for a 7-1 victory for the Bedford Bulldogs, Pete.
That's a solid win for the Bulldogs. They just had it all tonight or this afternoon. The passing, using the entire field, the unrelenting attack in the offensive zone. All great things to see. Just amazing the improvements from game 1 to game 3, and hey, game 1 and game 2 weren't too bad either. So this team, I think the other thing I took away from tonight's game is the depth of their bench, right? Everybody played, and I'll tell you, everybody contributed. There wasn't a single person that didn't enter the game, even if it was for 5 minutes, that didn't make something happen. That's got to make Coach Gaudreau real happy heading into the next few games.
Yeah, that was really the highlight of this game, is watching everybody get in there and contribute the way they did. It shows the depth, and I think we're in for one heck of a season here.
We are, and the next game is on the 9th, so that's going to be a Wednesday if I got my dates right. 6, 7, 8, 9. No, that's actually a Monday. It's at Merrimack. That'll be their first time on a grass field this year, right? Merrimack, right. And Merrimack always gives them a hard time, and then they're on to Windham to round out the week. And Windham's always tough. So they showed a lot today. They showed a lot in their first 3 games. They got to feel pretty confident going into their next games with Merrimack next week and Windham. I also kudos to Nashua South. They've clearly improved over last year. From what I saw, their defense, their goalie is outstanding. The onslaught from Bedford is just hard to stop. So congrats to a stand-up game by the Panthers. That might just wrap us up today. I think we've got the final score. What?
Nice to be off to a 3-0 start to start
absolutely.
The season. And
good win by the Bulldogs 7-1, and Scott and I will be back here on the next home game, which will be versus Windham on the 11th. So until then, we'll see you then, and have a great evening.